Greetings, everyone. My name is Distia Pramono. I'm from Indonesia and I am a student. I am here to present my paper for this international conference, and the title of my paper is How False Advertising in the Fashion Industry Negatively Affect Indonesian Women's Consumer Behaviors in Terms of Hedonism and Impulsive Buying. So, right now I'm going to explain a little bit of the background for my paper. So, the rise of the fashion industry is popular among all genders, but specifically in Indonesia, the clothing industry is very popular among the women's society. So, because of this, women are often the ones who are exposed to promotional content related to the fashion brands, according to this journal that I read. Now, the problem in this case is there has been many cases where fashion brands are involved in false advertising in order to create a good brand image. And furthermore, a study conducted by Ihsan and Indayani stated that this is one of the factors that led to impulsive buying behavior among women. And through this paper, I want to find out more about this topic. Now, here are my research questions and research objectives. My research questions, I have 3 research questions. The first one is, does false advertising have any impact on Indonesian women's consumer behavior in terms of hedonistic shopping behavior? And the second one is, this is a little bit similar to the first question, but it's asking in terms of impulsive buying. And my third research question is, what can customers do in order to mitigate the negative impacts of false advertising? And my research objectives, which are of course aligned to my research questions, I want to determine the negative impact of false advertising in the fashion industry on Indonesian women's consumer behavior in terms of hedonistic shopping and impulsive buying. And I also want to explore potential customer strategies for mitigating the negative impacts of false advertising in the fashion industry on Indonesian women's consumers' behavior. Now, I'm going to explain the theoretical foundation that supports my study, my paper, and I divided my literature review into some parts. The first part is talking about advertising. So advertising is a very important role in our society because it acts as the primary source of product information for customers. So without advertising, the customers or the public would not know what business is trying to sell. And according to this paper that I read, advertising is usually related to the use of various mass mainstream media aimed at a specific market to promote the business. So the whole goal of advertising is to promote the business, whether it is a product or a service. Advertising is used to promote the business. And the next part is false advertising. In most cases and fields, advertising processes use false or misleading advertising. And in this case, false means misrepresenting the facts, which can lead to a lot of people making wrong decisions. And it was proven that even the most popular brand can deliver a false advertisement to engage the customers without the need for them to conduct any further research. And this will cause a huge risk by doing so. It can cause a problem for the business or even the customers. The next part is the negative impacts of false advertising. So according to this journal formulated some negative impacts of false advertising on consumer buying behavior. The first one is consumers are tempted by advertising materials, so they buy products impulsively. And in this case, impulsive means doing something without further thinking or decision-making process. And the second negative impact is they are likely to abandon the brands to which they are loyal to if they discover that the businesses are not being truthful or misleading in their advertising. And the second negative impact is more affecting the business instead of the consumer. Next is consumer behavior. It refers to the behavior that is carried out by individuals or groups in satisfying themselves when purchasing, selecting, or consuming and evaluating the products or services they want to consume. Hedonic buying behavior refers to multi-sensory and fantasy purchasing behaviors that are driven by rewards such as a sense of satisfaction in buying the products and fun in using the products. So we can say that hedonism is when someone buy something out of positive emotions or satisfaction after buying the products. And the last part of this literature review is impulsive buying. It refers to behavior to obtain goods or services without a strong plan or encouragement before making a purchase of particular product or service. Now, moving on to the methodology. For the data collection, I collected primary data. I did it through semi-structured qualitative interviews conducted in English and Bahasa Indonesia. And the interviews will be conducted in a private location, either in person or over video conferencing. The targeted participants for this paper are Indonesian women between the ages of 18 and 27 who are interested in the fashion business. And for the triangulation, the reason why I chose this method for the data collecting is because qualitative interviews allow for in-depth analysis of participant experience, attitudes, and beliefs, and it was chosen as the major research approach for the study. And for the data analysis, I did not use any specific tool or software, but I used this method called thematic analysis, which is a qualitative tool for discovering patterns, themes, and categories in data. Now I'm going to be moving on to the findings of my paper. I also divided this part into some parts. So the first one is going to be talking about participants' experience with false advertising. So each participant has different experiences regarding false advertising in the fashion industry. Most of the participants had experience with false advertising in internet integrated media such as online shops or e-commerce or even social media. But what all of them have in common in their experience is that the advertised product is not the same as actual product that the buyers will receive. And the next part of the finding is the negative impacts of false advertising on consumers' behavior in terms of impulsive buying. So to find out the tendency of the participants to show impulsive buying behavior, the researcher, which is me, also showed an example of an advertisement that was considered to make false claims. And the advertisement relates to a shoe product from the very popular brand New Balance, which claims that whoever wears the specific product will be able to lose weight and tone their body more. Almost all participants considered that the advertisement was interesting enough to trigger a desire to make an impulse purchase. This is a small part of the response from one of the participants. She said, "I think I would definitely buy it without thinking much because I know how hard it is to lose weight." And the other one said, when I asked them, "How likely are you to buy this product after seeing this advertisement?" She said, "Very likely. There's a big possibility that I would have bought that product simply because it's interesting." What the participants don't know is that this brand was legally sued for displaying a false advertising for their product. So the advertisement that I showed them was actually a real case of false advertisement. And the next part is in terms of hedonistic buying behavior. So the existence of false advertisement does not only trigger impulsive buying behavior of the participants, it also triggers an act of hedonistic shopping behavior. So for this part, I showed them an advertisement from a big fashion brand, Zara, which claimed that their brand is eco-friendly and they use sustainable material for their clothing. But a lot of people have proven that this brand is actually doing a form of greenwashing, which is lying to the public because they're not actually eco-friendly. They're actually one of the biggest contributors to the fashion waste in the environment. And I asked them how they felt after they saw this advertisement, and here are some of the responses. "I felt some positive emotions because I feel like a big brand contributing to the environment is a very good thing." And the other woman said, "I felt a lot of positive emotions because I didn't think a company as big as them would still think about doing good for the environment. So yeah, I felt very positive." In fact, the emergence of positive feelings about the advertisement for Zara products also led to high purchase intention from the participants, such as, here, "I think it's very likely because I've never really thought about the environment when I'm shopping for clothes. So if I buy from Zara instead of other brands, I feel like I'm doing a good thing." So this proves that after they saw the advertisement, they have an intention of buying products from Zara because of their claims of sustainability. Now I'm gonna move on to the last part of the findings, which is customer strategies to prevent from deceptive advertising. So, because they have been affected by false advertisement, each participant then had a very different strategies from each other to prevent this from happening again. So, several participants revealed that the main thing in preventing exposure to false advertising is self control, being careful in choosing goods, thinking twice before making a purchase, and reading products reviews, and also being wise. So, to conclude my presentation, I'm going to go over the main goal of the study. So, the main goal of this paper is to find out whether or not false advertisement in the fashion industry cause impulsive buying and hedonism, and how they're affecting it in the ways, and also to find out what customers can do to prevent themselves from being affected by false advertisement in the fashion industry. So, what the research finding discovered is that false advertisement can cause impulsive buying in terms of making the advertisement interesting or making the product look more interesting to quickly catch the attention of the public and make them quickly purchase the goods. And false advertisement can also cause hedonism by making the viewers of the advertisement feel positive emotions that can lead to a high purchase intention. And this study also found out that the main strategy for the customers to prevent themselves from false advertising is to increase self-control and reading the reviews of the brand online and look at what the majority says about the brand. As for the recommendations for the fashion brands, hopefully the fashion brands can take initiatives to perform advertisements that are legal, and in this case legal means honest and not deceptive to the public. And for future researchers, I hope that they can also explore this topic, but out of the limitations of my study, such as the participants' limitation. I only interviewed Indonesian women. Future researchers can interviews maybe globally. They can find participants globally or outside of the age range that I chose for my participants. So that is all for my presentation, and if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment sections, and thank you. Have a great day.